Now then, it is time to paint the white parts now, using pure white. And this time, I'm going to try to do this as extremely careful than what I did the last time, using this paint. And considering there's a lot of surface detail in these parts, it's going to take some time for me to work with. So I'm just going to go at an extended length, like so, to see how it works, and then just carefully look for the lining. Now this one I don't have to worry about, because to tell you the truth, this thing is going to be covered up, but I'm just going to give it an overall pass, like this. Don't know how much of the bottom part it will look at, but we'll get that thing covered up just in case. Alright, maybe not the best example, but it is an example. This one, let's see how this comes out. This is a lot of surface detail here, and even though I don't know how this will come out, some parts I wanted to paint a different color. But let's see what we can do. I actually appreciated one of the pegs. Ridiculous. do something bigger. Now I actually use sanding sponge 3200 here to clean up whatever leftover flakes that usually sticks onto the paint and whatnot. I don't know if this will come out alright. Gotta be very careful. I may hit the rocker a little too hard. Okay, looks okay. Let's do one more. Let's do the tail. There's another tail here, but we'll do this one first. Okay, so doing this is a bit tough, very tough, because you really need to be patient and all that stuff, especially when you have these little guys right here that I just finished. Also, the small ones were easy to do. It's the bigger ones that's going to take me a lot longer time and patience. Patience is something that now I have to have a lot of luxury to use, because obviously with a lot of things going on in the world and other things. But let me continue on, and then we'll do an overall pass and see how it comes out. So give me a minute, okay? Alright, now that the pre-sheeting is set in with these parts, I am not going to do the secondary pass. I have a lot here, but I'm going to show you just only a few. I'm going to begin with this one. And see how this comes out. I'm noticing some mistakes already. Some mistakes that you normally don't see until the final results. But we'll discuss that later on. But for now, the pre-shading is showing pretty good results. That's good. Let's begin with this one here. Interestingly enough, that the pre-shading gives it a somewhat weird hint of blue. I don't want to like make it completely white and then you don't see the actual pre-shading itself. We'll recover it up later on. You know, I'll do another pass later on. Alright, let's see this guy. I don't know. Alright, actually, yeah, let's do this one. Oh, I'm out of paint. Let's refill. Used a lot of white on this, and I'm about to be running out of this finisher pure white soon. May have to look into ordering some more. Alright, let's see this. Where did that scar mark come from? Jesus. I don't know. For whatever strange and odd reason, I am not 100% feeling it. I think my filter needs to be changed. Gun is coming out okay. Alright. Alright, let's do this one for now. I am kind of not feeling it here, especially since I'm getting a very, very distinct bluish tone, and I think that's because of the black. If this was all, if I would have primed this white then use the black for the pre-shading. Look, I'm already done already, Jesus. Then it will look good, and that could be my fault. Let me continue on. Obviously, this is going to take a while because there's a lot of parts here. So, I am reviewing this kit, these parts that I just painted. And sure enough, I'm kind of impressed with it, but I'm not liking it. During the course of the painting phase, I've noticed these dusting particles, and it didn't come out the way I thought it was going to be. I don't know if it's maybe because of the pre-shading, or maybe during the the priming of this kit. It's just that it didn't look right. Some parts did come out good, like something like this, but there's a rough texture to it, and I think maybe I didn't enclose this area well for this. I mean, I didn't have this problem when I was painting the Valkyrie, but this one didn't come out the way I want. The shading is nice. It did come out right, but I also noticed two things. One is the texture of how the paint is fell on. There's a bit of dust particles there for whatever reason. And I think this happened to the fact that even though I replaced the filter on my spray booth, it wasn't filtering out enough of the paint particles as I'm spraying. So maybe as it was in the air, it settled down on the parts and caused it to look like that. That was one. The other mistake, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but there is some scarring on the parts from when I was sanding down. I thought I was being very careful and using, various sanding grits. The last sanding grit that I was using was this P3000, and even though it's fine, it still has a texture to it. It has a roughness to it that can damage parts. If I should have used another sanding sponge or sanding abrasion that's a little more lighter, because I do have I believe I have a 5000 somewhere in here. I have to really reorganize everything here and see what I have, where it's available for me to grab. But this one came out good. Just again, the roughness just doesn't feel right or anything like that. But it did come out right. Because I also was taking the parts, putting it together, and making sure that they fall into place. So that came out really nice. Just that I have this here, and I was like, wait a minute, where did that come from? With of course, at the same time, I was saying to myself, I am not going to do two-tone then. I'm done. I really, really am done for me to do a two-tone color of this. But I did mention it, and for me to recover this, I'm going to do that. So I've already began masking off this. I think I'm going to mask this off. I was going to do this part, but there's no separation here. This is all one seamless area, so I'm going to probably mask off this, but maybe leave that exposed for painting. And I am going to paint the next color, which is the foundation gray. But before I'm going to do that, once I finish masking off what I believe needs to be second coat, you could say, I'm sorry, the two-tone or the second paint job, I'm going to give it a light pass of black along the leading edges. So that way, at least it shows that there's some pre-shading or a light pre-shading there. I'm trying to do it as light as possible, so when I spray paint the other part over, or the other color over it, it's seamless. It is a tricky process to do something like that. Time-consuming, but I'm going to try it and see if I can at least make some effort of recovering it to the way it is. For two-tone, I'm going to, so like for this one, I'm going to be covering up all this, just expose these two and the edges here. For this part here, these three parts will be covered up. I'm sorry, will be exposed, as well as these three parts. And I think, well, I can't do the edges because the edges is actually part of that. But I'll probably end up doing for this part here, and then the leading edges there and there. Maybe that, I don't know yet, depending on how crazy I am. The two parts here, that's good for the knees. Whoops, that fell over there. This is okay. Actually, you know what? This is going to be put away into the case of the parts that are very completed. Oh, so let's go with this guy here. So clearly the bottom part is one. This part is one. This part and this part. And then this part here. And then for the actual plate itself that covers up this and the front part of the of this one, let's go to here first. So we have these two, which will be exposed. That one will be exposed. There's a plate that goes right over there, so that's going to be another, will be the other tone color. I was going to do this plate, but I think I'm not going to do that. I'm going to figure this all out because it's going to take me some time to remask everything, repaint everything. So this is going to take a little longer than I realized. Hopefully I'll get it done before next Thursday, because if I can do another video between now and Thursday, it'll be great. But I will be doing a live stream this Thursday, and we'll talk about this in depth with other things. Many of you guys want to ask me some questions. Save it for that day, because that's going to be a very special day for me. Alright, let me continue working on this kit and see if I can recover it.